Hi everyone, today I am going to talk about the Macross toy. This is the Veritech Fighter or Variable Fighter 1J. You might have seen this before. There's actually two other versions of this Macross. I'll show you a picture here. One is VF-1A, which is, let me see if I can find a picture here. Oh, which is this guy right here. 1A is this guy. And then there is also 1D, which is this guy here. So there's actually three Veritech fighters. And here in this video, I am going to transform it into a jet. It's actually got three battle modes, which I'll show you later. And here is the gun that comes with him. So just a bit of background. This is from Macross, an anime from 1982. And it was very popular during that time. I bought this in Hong Kong. I think it was about 50 Hong Kong dollars, which was about 10 Canadian dollars at the time. It's very popular. I bought it brand new. It's very high quality. It was in my storage for about 30 years. I played with it a lot when I was a kid. So it's in pretty good condition. I was kind of worried about it falling apart if I transform it. But you can see it's made of pretty high quality plastics and high quality metal. You can still see that the arms and legs are quite, they click and it's quite snug. And the joints are very strong still. So again, it's made of metal. You can see here on the landing gear, if I push up this button, the springs still work. It's a metal landing gear. The wheels still work. Same with this side. If I push this button up, the landing gear pops up and the springs are still working. So very high quality, I thought. And I thought, I still think this is one of the best toys that was ever made because of the proportions and the size. And when I'll show you when I change it into a jet fighter later, it really looks like an F-14 Tomcat with the proportions and everything. So I think this is one of the best toys that was ever made. And of course, that includes Jetfire and Transformers and the other Veritech fighters. So I'm going to transform it now. I'll show you how I transform it. First of all, I would put the antennas down a little bit first, and then I would open up this, and I would put the head from behind. I would move it down a bit and turn it. I would put the antenna up a little bit so that when I put the legs over, it doesn't break the antenna. I know the antennas are very easy to break, especially with the Jetfire version. So now the next step, I'm going to put the arms and shoulders over. You can still see that it snaps right in after so many years. Here, I'm just gonna put this in here, the other arm in, and I'm gonna put the arms up and straighten them up. I'm not going to push the hands down. Actually, if I can push the hands down into the slots here, and I can push it back out when I want to with this lever here, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want it to break. As I mentioned before, this thing is over 40 years old. So next step, I'm just going to move the legs over. So I'm going to very carefully put this over the body, and it transforms. I'm going to straighten up the legs a bit. Okay, now it's flat. So you can see that the whole thing is flat, the body. And I'm going to close up the engines here, the jet engines here. And I'm going to push this lid back in. And I'm going to take this chest panel here. And I'm going to push it up. Right here, I'm going to push it up. There you go. And I'm going to open up the wings. You can still hear it clicking. So it's pretty durable. You can still hear it clicking when I open up the wings. And the tail here, the tail wings, I'm just going to open up. And then put the panels up. There you go. Very good. So here we go. The landing gear still works, as I mentioned, at the bottom, right? The landing gear still works, but the front landing gear is a little bit jammed, so I'm not gonna fix that right now. So I know some other versions of this toy. The head can actually go farther in, and I think there's some extra gears in there where the head can go in. I think that's a much more expensive and recent version of this toy, of this VF fighter. But this one doesn't, and I think this is more closely resembles the cartoon in the anime where the head is still sticking out. But I know other versions the head can go in, and there's some other parts you have to fit in. And I know there's other versions of this toy, more recent and probably more expensive versions of this toy, where there's a cover for the air intake part of the jet to cover up some mechanics in there. So this one doesn't have it. So There you go. The one thing I think here that is a little bit, can be improved is that there's no pilot. You can see there's no pilot. So usually, I've seen other versions where you can open up the cockpit and there's a pilot and you can see the control panel and everything. But this one is, they left out that detail for this one. But I do think it's a very good toy because, it's very proportional, as I mentioned earlier, to a F-14 Tomcat. And I guess that was the very, the popular fighter jet at the time, popularized by Top Gun probably. But here you go. There it is. It's got two other modes. So in the anime, you see the pilot toggling between three modes. And there's one button, which is an F, which stands for fighter jet. So when the pilot pushes that button or toggles that, it turns into a fighter jet, which is this one right here. There's also a G mode. When the pilot toggles to G mode, it's a jerwalk. Well, they call it jerwalk in Macross, the Japanese version. But in the English version, the Robotech, they call it the Guardian mode. And that's when the legs come down. It's like a half walking. It's like a half, I guess, like walking robot and a half airplane. I'll show you a picture of it later. I'm not going to transform it, but and then there's a B. There's a B mode, which is the Batroid, which is the humanoid mode, which is the robot mode. So I'll just give you an idea of how it looks like. That's how it looks like. That is the jerwalk or Guardian mode. It's like a half walking airplane with arms and legs. So that's it. That's the toy here. Really high quality toy. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.